got Chris Maxwell so very angry as the match wore on. Well, I used to be a goalkeeper. I was a dodgy keeper, unlike Chris, and so I'm obsessed by defensive shape. So let's see what was getting him so annoyed. It was apparent from the first 30-odd seconds there was going to be a major issue, because the side just seemed to lose all their shape, which has been the strength of the side, I would say, so far this season. In those opening seconds, seemed almost like panic. Here, just a bog standard long ball forwards. Andrews doesn't do well with it, although having a player jump in front of him probably doesn't help. And then people start to step out. It's all a crowd around the ball. Look at the jagged back four. Players stepping out, midfielders mixed between them. Another issue which is going to come up is that space on the right hand side. Macmillan often exposed and dragged out of position because of it. And they exposed that, ball played in. And Andrews first of all goes across, handles it, then loses his balance, and Maxwell has to look at himself as well there, being beaten at the near post. Andrews coming back in was an issue. I always see Andrews as a player who relies on his timing. If his timing's right, like these couple of instances, he's terrific. Look at this, he lunges in, great tackle. And then heading as well. If he can get a run up at it and time his jump, bang, great. When he's in the rhythm of being match fit, he's like that. But when he's not match fit, he can look very rusty and mistime things. And here at Crawley, coming back from injury, he misses out there on that through ball and nearly gets punished. Here, on his debut against Eastbourne, remember he only played 17 games in the 2 seasons before this, so he's rusty. He makes another error, and you know, until he got match fit this season, he was having moments like that in every game. Here we see Crichton winning a good head. What Crichton does well is he's big and bulky, and he can stand his ground, lean over people and win it. Andrews tends to need a run up at it, and a bloke backs into him like that, he struggles with it as well. So he was having some problems. Now here we see another example of this. It's the chance in the second minute that Shaw has. We're pressing, it looks sound as usual. We don't expect a side to create against us from this position. As you can see, Andrews has picked Shaw up, and all looks to be under control, although again there's that overlap by Macmillan. But when Gateshead work it well and did work it well, Shaw's lost Andrews, and he lost his man far too often in the middle. Here's one of the goals, but that's his man who's got goal side of him and headed it in. Again here, Gateshead just working around nicely. Wrexham got men around the ball. Again, not great tackling, right? Not great effective pressing. Now Andrews steps out from the back. If he does that, he's got to come out with the ball or halt the attack somehow. He doesn't. He manages to get back again, and he manages to pick up his man. But he's gone goal side of him by the time the cross comes in. Although there was good crossing, there was also poor marking. Here again, now look at the gap developing between Andrews and Crichton. It's a real issue. Huge gap between them. It doesn't actually lead to the goal, actually. What leads to the goal is Andrews misjudging it in the end, Macmillan calling for an offside. But that gap, the lack of communication with the centre-backs is a problem. To be fair to Macmillan, maybe he's got a point. Look, there's the offside line. It was offside. Another problem was, I think a major problem, Chris Blackburn wasn't fit, I don't think, and wasn't able to do that sort of breaking up. As a result, instead he had a game more like this. Look at that, trying to come forwards. He actually sets up a chance for Gateshead. He can't catch up after losing the ball. Andrews can't stop the shot coming in. Thankfully, Maxwell steps in. But Blackburn just wasn't himself, and because of that, Wrexham just looked short. He wasn't breaking the things up in front of the box. Here we see him lose out. He's up the pitch. Keats is covering in behind him. When one striker drops back like the guy at the black line, it seems to confuse our defence. The back three are pretty much in position. Macmillan's pulled out a bit because of the lack of support there. The striker just runs through though, the centre-backs. Andrews intervening when he didn't really have to. It was just all in disarray. Look at this, Wrexham famed for their pressing this season. Look at all the space by the time Pogba happens to come into the frame and try to close down. It's all just lax. It's not like Wrexham. The wide striker's not coming back to help when the ball comes in. Andrews handles for the second time in the match, this time the ref gives it. Here again, just a straight long ball to the far post. Macmillan, 2 on him, heads it clear, gets it to the edge of the area. Wrexham come out to try and break things up. When it's played in, Andrews in blue's got the striker in blue, or will do, as he comes in. Crichton is the other one. But when the rebound comes off Maxwell, they maybe should have done better. They haven't really picked them up. They're not there to make those challenges. Another way of looking at that attack is if you look at this. Defenders red, midfield blue, striker green. It's out of shape. We've got a gap over on that side again. Macmillan's exposed. He wins the header. Now he needs to leave that for Blackburn to come across and cover. He doesn't. He makes a decision to come out, and now we've got a problem round the back. Again, there's no support for him. If the back four dropped back like that and just shifted across to the right, we wouldn't have that issue. But we've had that problem all through the match, down that flank. Well, it's just a 3 at the back. The problem is that they've got good wingers, and a long diagonal is going to catch out a back 3 because there's no full-backs. And constantly in the early stages of that half, and Wrexham played their way, Gateshead were exploiting it and getting balls in from wide. That one came to nothing. This one, though, Sinclair gives it away in midfield, and again, just look up, just ping those long diagonals, and you're going to get in behind us. You could hardly say we had the fastest centre-backs either. Cross comes in, And, well, the flag goes up. Here we see again now Gateshead building in the second half. They knocked it around well. You've got to give credit to Gateshead for it. But Wrexham's pressing just seemed dead. Crichton stepped out. Not sure why from the back four. We need Sinclair at the bottom to be following that arrow coming in, covering around the back. But he fails to do so. And as a result, easy chance. Well done, Maxwell, for anticipating it. But again, the defence is breaking down horribly. And then here we just see an example of horrible, horrible marking. So unlike Wrexham. But then yesterday was so unlike Wrexham.